10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes, I finally get to use that. I've been holding on to that for 2 years.
What is that from?
All right, welcome. I made it. I made it. When I was putting together the package for all the Blerdlines stuff, that was like one of the things. And then I gave it to Josh, and Josh did his audio magic. But okay, yeah, we're live, and welcome everybody to Blerdlines. This is your man Cam. With me, as always, is
Cam 2. How you doing?
as well as
Professor D, or for today, the Professor of Ice and Fire.
And Josh is probably pulling up at the rear right about now. Look at that. On
There
time.
he is. Freshly minted Knicks fan with his hat in his frame and the shirt. We want you all to know that he's a Knicks fan, and we're happy for the New York Knicks. They brought home the gold, took home the gold.
That is accurate. I'm unabashedly wanting everyone to know.
So yeah, full squad's here, and we wanted to hop on. This is gonna be our first live show. Hey, everybody, how's it going? We just haphazardly, all of us, watched House of the Dragons season 3, the season premiere. So, D, as our resident dragonologist, will guide us through the to the fact not fiction or TV versus the book. But a lot of different stuff has been going on. You know, after we've had the feel goods of Night of Seven Kingdoms, where it was like a nice buddy cop thing with like Guy and Squire, and they're doing their thing until the end. But it was happy and it was optimistic. And then now that we're back to House of Dragon, boom, right back into the action. Political intrigue, death, maimings, battles. That and the budget for this is fucking insane.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty wild, the kind of things that we get out of, no matter where we stand in terms of the writing or, what it is, we get pretty much a really good deal in these fantasy shows now in terms of the budget and the look and the set pieces, the action, the costumes. They really do put us there. So for better or worse, man, that was a pretty epic battle episode. We're going to talk about some specific stuff, and obviously we can go around and talk about what we liked the most about the episode. But yeah, between the dragons and the sea, the naval battle, like you can't imagine. I can't imagine what that budget is, and then that's just the production itself. I mean, the post-production budget, got to be crazy. I mean, Josh was pointing it out to me. He was pointing out the editing, and we love Ramin Djawadi's score, which I did really love the reworking of the main score for this show. And I also think that should have happened way sooner. As of the first season, like I was really disappointed that they just used the Game of Thrones theme. I mean, I get the connectivity, but this was better, more bombastic, more epic. It makes it feel like the story that is about to unfold.
Yeah, and it makes it feel like its own thing.
Yeah, no, it does. It does. And that's what it was missing, I think, at first. Looks like we got a couple people. Westeros is in the house. Well, what a great episode.
Yeah. And also I was gonna say, also just for this episode, one episode out the gate, super dope. I think they kind of I think they worked on a lot of their pacing issues that they had from season 2. I think
Sorry.
We got our first Knicks troll. I love it. You gotta have one. You gotta have one.
Yeah, you be all right. You can win another time. It's cool.
Hey, before we delve too deep into this, happy Father's Day to all the fathers in the chat.
Yeah,
same to you, bro. Same to you.
Happy Father's Day.
All the black men out there taking care of the kids.
True.
Yeah. And you know what? Not to deviate too far, but on that topic, we got a good scene between Lord Corliss and Alan.
Yeah.
So a good father landed
Black
perfect for
bonding.
Father's Day. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I just had to point that out. Like that was a pretty good landing that whether it was accidental or on purpose, it was a really well placed scene of him
Agreed.
talking to his son and knowing and owning up to the mistakes he's made or he did make about not giving them a name and having them kind of live in the shadow of his wealth. I thought that was a pretty good scene. Definitely good scene.
Yeah, I mean, the whole show could be called House of Daddy Issues because everyone has a issue they have for some reason.
Isn't it fitting it came out on Father's Day?
For real.
But yeah, to your point about the pacing, like the editing is just on 200,000, man. Like just the way that the sequences sort of just fell together, and the different things that were going on sort of crashed together with Sheep Stealer being out of control, and then Jace, and just the whole thing just sort of collided in a perfectly chaotic kind of way. And the audio was something's different. Something is different about that audio because it definitely.
I noticed that too. Yeah.
The mix on that show tonight is different from the first 2 seasons of this show. I guarantee you.
Well, that'd be interesting to look.
Did we not complain about the audio in the previous season?
We did.
Yes,
we did.
This was a vast improvement.
It was.
I'll be looking that up. I will absolutely be looking that up after we're done.
I looked at it. I watched it through my 5.1 Sony surround sound. So before it used to be that you had to, Josh, tell them about it. Before you used to have to crank HBO Max shows all the way up to the max.
Oh yeah,
it was ridiculous in terms of how bad the audio was. But recently, and probably because of changes behind the scene, but recently they have definitely improved in a lot of departments with the movies, and now here they were ready for, because I think I noticed it was good for a Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and then like now here it's really good where it needs to be, because there's a lot of great audio and mixing that needs to that obviously needed to happen for these to bring these scenes to life.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the other thing I was going to say was the like you said, the crunchiness of like all the dragons anytime they were on screen, if they were hitting the ground, if they were eating a sheep, or they were it all of that stuff made it added to it, because it made it more like menacing. And going back to what I said about the budget, like the amount of dragons they showed in this episode, I was like, yo, slow down, you're gonna waste your budget for the rest of the episodes.
So who do we have? Also, I was just gonna ask, who did we have in this episode? We had Moon Dancer, Vermax, Sheep Stealer, yeah. We saw Silverwing resting, not really doing anything. I think we saw Sea Smoke flying, but we didn't see Vermithor, which makes sense because Vermithor is Vagar scale,
right?
So yeah, I think those were the ones. Oh, and Caraxes.
And Caraxes, of course.
My boy Caraxes. I love Caraxes, man. I love how he was on the battlefield. His energy always matches Damon's, and they do a really good job of just showing Caraxes on the battlefield. And Damon has him in total control. He's not burning their soldiers wildly. He's like waiting for he walks up when Damon is about to charge the Winter Wolves before he finds out who they are. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, I love that he everybody got to attention, and so did Caraxes. So he was like, some happening. We about to get it down. What's going on?
Yeah, he's that in tune with Damon.
But I have a question for you, Cam. What did you think of the visuals as far as the dragons were concerned for this episode versus the complaints that we had previously in terms of the look of the dragons?
Me?
Other Cam.
Oh no! I actually thought it was really dope. I think they made a good concerted effort to make the dragons look different. and make sure that they like stand out. So now you could like before I would say in the season 1 and 2, it was kind of like they kind of just all melded together. You only saw a couple here and there, but I think at the end I was like this. They actually gave Vagar's was a good example where you had like the skin was kind of all like a little bit of burnt off a little bit, and then you saw on I'm gonna mess up Moon. What's the Moon something?
Moon Dancer.
No,
Moon
Sheep
Dancer.
Stealer. I think you're thinking about Sheep
Sheep-
Stealer.
I was thinking about Sheep Stealer. Sorry, Sheep
Okay.
Stealer had like the scars on the actual neck and on the ribs, and then I think the Moon Dragon had another different style too. So like I think this time they actually kind of leaned into like I mean, and it's funny because it's like the easiest thing you can do is just paint them different colors, and then we get to go. Like it's not hard. Like hey, one's white, one's green, one's blue, one's red. All right, let's just keep it moving. But
Right.
like the first 2 seasons, they just didn't do for some strange reason they didn't lean into that. Where now, like because we have multiple dragons, multiple dragon riders, they actually lean in a little bit more. So now you can see some very distinctive differences between the dragons.
Yeah, and those distinctions are a big deal in the world of Ice and Fire. I mean, just look at Caraxes, just for an example. You know, Caraxes is, and I think it's one of the things I love about Caraxes and Daemon and Meleys and Rhaenys, and even with how Rhaena was approaching Sheep Stealer, is that the Dracarys thing was sort of Daenerys only. That wasn't like something that, in canon anyway, that was actually a command for the Targaryen or the Valyrian dragons. So when House of Dragon kept it going as if it was a tradition, first I thought, okay, it doesn't make a lot of sense because the whole point was that Daenerys lost that information. She didn't have it. She had to create it herself, her own unique bond with her dragons and give them commands. But they've used it okay. But I think one of the things that was great about this episode, and as I mentioned with Meleys and Caraxes, is that they do show the different bonds that each Dragon Lord has with their uniqueness of it that they have with their dragons. Daemon doesn't have to give verbal commands to Caraxes. That's just what I mean. How into
I peeped that.
Is.
Yeah.
Wait, who else is like that though?
So in this series, I would probably say you see it with Rhaenyra and Syrax. You hardly ever see her give. Only time we saw her give Syrax a verbal command was when in the very first episode when she utters Dracarys for her to burn for her mother's funeral pyro. But otherwise, she doesn't really give Syrax any verbal commands. Rhaenys had other Valyrian words, but it's kind of implied that she also is in tune with
yeah. It seemed like she was more talking to her dragon as opposed to like issuing commands: turn left, go right, rain fire, that kind of thing.
Wait, Rhaenys dragon is what? Meleys?
Meleys, yeah.
Meleys, yeah.
This is like when she pulls her strap. Meleys,
yeah, when she pulls the reins, that's the command.
She knows what that means because they have been through this time and time again, and that's the same thing with Daemon. He doesn't need to give Caraxes any verbal commands. But we saw with Rhaena and Sheep Stealer her singing in High Valyrian, which is a kind of new thing that they just introduced into the semi-canon. I'll refer to the show canon as the semi-canon. So they just introduced that into the semi-canon, and that's a significant big deal because it is something that's being pulled directly from the canon, from the world of Ice and Fire.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like it was one of those things where going back to how the pacing was, like, in the first previous seasons, we would have got like this battle at the last 2 minutes. Where this would have came in. It came in. It would have been the last quarter of the.
It would have been the last quarter of the show. Yeah.
Yeah, but here we got and the way they paced it out was by the time we started to get the Battle of the Gullet, then we started to see the other things that was happening around it, and then things started to move all in tandem. So then by the time we get to the last part, the Gullet sprinkled out through the show as opposed to just being this one big plot. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Which made it a lot. It made it better because then as I'm like going back to whatever the other thing I was looking at, boom, it got back to the gullet. Like boom, I'm like, oh, does black dude die? No, he's not. He just fell into the water. Cool. Next.
Yeah, and each time it gets more intense. So the first time we see the warning,
Builds.
cut away, and then they cut back. His ship's on fire. All hell is broken loose. And same thing. Cut back. The Dragonstone gets the message. Then we cut back a little bit while we see Jace and Bela pull up in Moondancer and Vermax.
And that's kind of what made the editing jump out at me. Like they cut from the battle's about to start, then they cut to Rhaenyra flipping out that she can't join the battle. Then when they cut back, it's in full swing, and there's sails on fire, and there's somebody. One ship is launching a fireball at another ship over the camera. Yeah, perfect. It's a good structure. It's an interesting structure.
Shout out to the ODB of Dragon Chief Stealer for just being a wild card throughout the whole.
Oh, really?
I appreciate that because it is a wild dragon.
It caught me off guard when she was like, "Those are not our enemies. You probably don't want to set them on fire." I was like, "Oh, well, that's the party we're attending." Okay,
exactly. Chief Stealer got mad when Vermax pulled up. It's like, what are you doing? Like, get out of my way. I want to burn the ships. I want to eat these people. Like,
which was hilarious.
Well, Chief Stealer doesn't. Well, I don't know what they're going to do with semi-canon. He doesn't eat.
That's another story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And definitely Rip Vermax. I saw R.I.P. Rip Vermax. I like Vermax. I love his design. I love that he looked more like an actual reptile than a lot of the other dragons. And if he had gotten to full size, I mean, oh my, he would have been a monster. But Rip Vermax and Rip Jacaerys Valerian. I would say we will never see his like again, but then there's the Jon Snows and
we'll see at least one more.
We'll see a few more of his like, but Jace, you will be remembered.
What have we learned? Never run headfirst into a battle.
Well, you'd think they'd have figured that out.
When you don't have the kind of experience, because I think, that's what I really do love about the story, both in the canon and the semi-canon, is that Jace is eager. He's eager to contribute. He's eager to prove his mettle as the Prince of Dragonstone. And obviously, there is a bit of insecurity because 2-3 individuals who are not Targaryens claim dragons, and part of the whole sticking point with him is the strong blood that's in him, and feeling that constant insecurity led him to doing what, and we often forget, he's only a teenager.
Impulse.
And that
teenager.
That was my thing. I was just like, yo, your first battle is gonna be a huge one,
right?
In the middle of the sea. I'm not sure this might be
with
training wheels
with like 8 million different variables popping off all at the same time.
Exactly. Your dragon is full size, but Vermax is still young. It's the same age as Jace. So and Bela did her thing too. But one of the things
she not to cut you off. She is in a very short period of time become a much more strategic player. Like, she knows where to plant her foot and when to lift off. She knows when to dip left and dip right. I like what they're doing with her character as far as like the kid's savvy. Like, she's not stupid, and I like that. I like that they're giving that to a black female character, and especially one so young and inexperienced. Like, that's a nice little intangible that I picked up on almost immediately.
Yeah, and one of the other good things to add to that is that they are making. I don't like that Nettles was cut. Nettles' storyline was what Rhaena has right now, and then there's still some issues of how they're going to ultimately resolve that. But I kind of think I have in mind what they're going to do. But that's a conversation for another time. But I didn't like the setup of Jacaerys going and Bela going to the battle. I thought, again, I don't like when you cut against the world. And to me, that was just one of those moments where they're trying so hard to push the the narrative of Rhaenyra's of the men in Rhaenyra's life feeling they know what's best for her because she is a woman and not acknowledging her as queen. Now it gave Emma Darcy, it gave them a lot to work with in their performance, but it doesn't, to me, mesh with the world, because if you're not going to take the word of the crown prince over the queen. Like if the
Right.
king says,
Yeah, that's a good point.
out, you're letting her out, because otherwise, as
You're gonna die.
Have your head, she's gonna have his head. It doesn't matter, and especially now that her son is dead. So,
but I get what they were trying to play. Like his job is to protect her even from herself. So if the prince gives the order for him to help her if the prince gives the order for him to protect her from herself,
but that's not how it works in that world.
No, exactly.
And so that's
not work that way.
That's my issue. Like again, if that were the king, you wouldn't have done that, and obviously that's the whole point. But at the same time, I think in the canon, Rhaenyra's choice to finally relent and let Jace go is a big moment decision, because it's a moment in which she says, okay, they need help. She realizes that her rushing off into the battle is not wise, because if she dies, it's over. And so it creates a moment where she trusts Jace, but then she later regrets it because of how disastrous it is. So I would have rather them go that route as opposed to doing what they did, because again, that cuts against the established world building.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who else was there? Any other demises besides young Mr. Jace?
You mean besides the people on boats?
I mean, they
most of the triarchy.
Lore and Corlys disappeared into the ocean. We don't know if Corlys is dead or alive based on
right. We don't know if he's dead or alive. Lord Jason Lannister was beheaded. Shout out to that moment was very much probably a shout out to the Stark Lannister rivalry of Game of Thrones.
Right.
With a Northman delivering the Lord of Lannister's head to the Dragon Prince and Daemon.
Awesome.
But yeah, I think we got the Lannister twins because Tylan went overboard.
Lord threw him overboard. Yep.
Yeah.
So those two are gone.
Jace. And what other victims did we have? This
Vermax,
the entire triarchy.
Oh, Vermax, right?
Vermax.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to Vermax. Vermax was the only dragon casualty.
Shout out to the chat for pointing that out.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you, chat. Keeping us honest.
True.
But I think that's about it. I think our man Kristen Cole out here, king of the hand of the king.
See my face.
That man is doing not well mentally. He should just fall on the sword right now. I mean, geez, the man.
Bro, when he popped up on the screen, I was like, is something gonna happen?
Josh is counting down to the moment in which Kristen Cole meets his demise.
Because what they're somewhere in the Riverlands, and I think what they're waiting for Aemon.
Yeah, so
Aemon and Vhagar to return.
They're waiting on word from Aemon, right?
Yeah, so setting that up, just to orient the chat to where everybody at. They watched. If you watched, you noticed that the Greens have an army in. They have an army in the Riverlands, and also so the High Towers are posting up in and around the Riverlands and the Reach, and the other army, I believe, is also moving through the Riverlands. So Daemon just joined the River Lords with the Winter Wolves of House Stark, and not just House Stark. There's House Stark,
but the Northmen.
Yeah, the Northmen. So Roddy the Ruin, the one that said we're here to die for the Dragon Queen. He's the Lord of Baraton. and they have a whole line of history that dates back to the first men and the first kings and all that stuff. So they're a pretty ancient first man house, and so they brought a bunch of houses, men from different northern houses to fight for Rhaenyra.
Yeah, shout out to Gabe Itch. He's basically saying it's kind of the same thing where it's like he kind of made the choice knowing like, oh, she's the queen. She go out there and dies, it's all over. Jason running out there and kind of dying, even though she already lost another son. So what is that? 2 sons down?
Yep.
1, 2.
Yeah. But it's starting to get a little old that she's willing to rush out into the wild, knowing that if she dies, the whole thing is done, and all of these people have sacrificed for nothing. So at some point, she's got to kind of relax and be like, all right, man, y'all go ahead and pick and choose her spots where it might be wise for her to sort of get out into the wild and mix it up and lead the troops. But every time something pops off, she's ready to go, and it can't happen.
Yeah, I think obviously, and Gabe had a good point about, and it's sort of what you said, Josh, that maybe he just knew that his life was forfeit anyway. So his last act was that he was just going to go ahead and protect the queen from herself.
Mm-hmm.
And that is making sense of that scene while trying to maintain the world building mechanics. But the world of Ice and Fire is an active character, and that's why when those little bit of moments like that happen, it feels like it lessens the world, because again, maybe he would do that, but chances are he probably wouldn't. But
because it would mean his life,
right? But this is semi-canon, so we'll work with that. I'll accept it.
Quick shout out to the bastards of Targaryen and Valyrian blood, Ulf, Adam, and Hugh Hammer, waiting on the word of Aemon and Vhagar as well. We're not going to forget them. They just chilling in the cut.
Right.
So.
Yeah, everybody's waiting on Aemon and Vhagar to move. And, it's funny because it's like, those are the ones you want to stay still. You don't want them moving.
Yeah.
Aemon, and Vhagar. You don't want Vhagar to have to raise up, and she's old and ornery, and like Vhagar will turn the lights out for everybody. So
she might listen to dude's command if threatened. I mean, there's no guarantee what will or won't happen.
Vhagar and Aemon are pretty in sync. I mean, Vhagar's original writer was Visenya Targaryen, who is pretty much had a very similar disposition to Aemon. So probably Vhagar's nicest writers were Viserys' father Balon before he died, and then Laena Velaryon before she died. But other than that, Vhagar's had some pretty psychotic writers.
Sweet.
Yeah, definitely. Other than that, I'm trying to think of the other good stuff. We actually did a nice little cover.
The sea battle in and of itself, overall, I thought was great. Like,
yeah,
the way that it framed out, the way that it played out, it wasn't too short, wasn't too long. There were
consequences. Broke it up real nice.
Yeah, it wasn't. There were consequences, and to your point, to Cam's earlier point about things being all nicey, like legit. I'm sitting there like literally munching on popcorn. Like, oh my God, wow, yeah, we're back to the shit, aren't we?
Yeah.
Exactly. Now we're back to blood and guts and the throne and the big stakes but as I said before, I like that A Night of the Seven Kingdoms and this show are running concurrently with each other. Because story-wise and world-building-wise, this is how we get to the Targaryens of that era in Night of the Seven Kingdoms, because of the sins of this particular branch of the house and what they did. And because as a result of this, it brings them to ruin. Not spoiling anything, because that was sort of established at the very beginning of the series.
Right.
But it's bad for them. And each battle, no matter who is fighting it, has been almost lose-lose. Rook's Rest was not a total victory, even though Meleys was killed. They lost most of their infantry. They had to re-up the amount of soldiers that they had to battle and to bring to the battle in the first place. So
right. Same with Pellet. Yeah.
So every one of these fights, every one of these battles is a cost for both sides. And I think this episode we saw more wins for the blacks, and it seems like the greens are on the ropes. And so that will be the interesting thing of seeing how they sort of bounce back in this civil war that's going on.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say was all of the machinations that Alicent was doing. She ain't working, girl.
Well, I give her
Like,
credit, man. She pivots real easy because she got Aemon out of King's Landing by just appealing to, she listened to Helena, and I think that was a great moment. I like that Helena humanized Aemon because she said the quiet part out loud, which is Aemon hasn't felt actual fear since he claimed Vhagar, and now he feels existential fear. He believes and knows that there's a possibility that Rhaenyra and her dragons and her dragon riders can kill him. That fear really, we saw it in his eyes when he chased after Silverring, and then he realized that, oh man, what's that waiting on? What is that waiting on me?
Is that over yonder?
Vermithor and Cyrex and Silverring? And Sea Smoke is still waiting in the wings somewhere. And I'm saying Vhagar's big, but Daemon had it right at the very beginning of season 2. If they take her together, they can take her down. And Aemon realized that, which is why he quickly turned around.
Yep.
And ran.
And apparently has been hiding all this time, for lack of a better term.
I mean, he's also doing a smart play.
Yeah.
Let him come
we
to
also,
him.
We also have to remember that not a lot of time has passed. Remember that these 2 episodes were supposed to be at the end of season 2. And so technically what we're seeing is a few days after what we last saw, right? So Alicent is just
3 years
back.
later.
Yeah, like Alicent's just making it back from Dragonstone. Rhaenyra's just telling the rest of them that Alicent was there. Nobody asked, well, why didn't you put her in chains and lock her up and try to leverage her as a prisoner? But we'll let that one go. But yeah, we're seeing the residuals of what should have been the last season, and even with the 3 dragon riders waiting. So location wise, that was a very interesting thing. I didn't see it going where it went, which is we get another sighting of a green man. And I thought, hey, they're doing what I kind of thought they might, which is further developing the green man lore that exists within A Song of Ice and Fire. Game of Thrones kind of really just ignored it. But it's a big deal. And so that location where they are is I don't know if they are right now, if they were on the Isle of Faces. It seems to me that they were near it, but not on it, because the Isle of Faces, it because it will have lots and lots of weirwood trees. And you saw a very exterior shot of it last season, where you saw the weirwood tree. The significance of the Green Man sighting here has to do with Adam of Hull, and in the canon what is surrounded by him. But I'm not going to talk about that until we get past a certain point. But I just wanted to bring it up that we got 2 Green Men sightings, and both of them in the canon were connected to the 2 characters we sight them around, which is we see them around, which is first Daemon, and then again now in this episode Adam. And also Ulf encountering their magic was and it freaked him out. Which
I'm gone.
The canon story there is that the Green Men on the Isle of Faces have warded the whole island. So anytime anybody tries to go to that island, they're met with like strange things, like what we saw with the goat. or most of the time storms of ravens, huge murders of raven attacking them, storms, unnatural storms. So they basically are sorcerers that live on that island. But
So they're welcoming the tourists. Good. Okay.
yeah, and so yeah, they love the tourists. They love all of Westeros to come to visit to see the prevalent faces.
Since we're on the mysticism of House of the Dragon, can you briefly touch on Helena and her ability, with kind of reference to the Dreamers?
Yeah, so Helena is what's known as a dragon dreamer in the canon. We have seen a few of these in the semi-canon. Daenerys was a dragon dreamer, but the thing about Daenerys is they didn't go all the way with her dragon dream, so you forget it really quickly. But it is Daenerys's dragon dreams that allows her to wake the dragon, that gives her the magical formula and tools to wake the dragon in the book. She kept dreaming about it. But we also saw Darren the Drunkard in the Night of Seven Kingdoms. He was a dragon dreamer. Daemon is never described as a dragon dreamer, but and I don't think he is even still. I think that was sort of just like a special thing.
That was a werewolf vision.
Yeah,
like
exactly. So that's a different thing entirely. But yeah, the whole thing with a dragon dreamer, and obviously the most famous dragon dreamer in the whole world is Daenerys the dreamer, the one who dreamed that the doom of Valyria, and allow the Targaryens to escape just in time. Aegon the Conqueror has been confirmed in semi-canon as a dragon dreamer with the whole Song of Ice and Fire thing. But I would pretty much say that that's probably canon that George Martin just intends to reveal in a different way, because all of it still aligns. Aegon didn't conquer the Seven Kingdoms in the manner that a person might conquer for glory, power, and riches. He let all of the kingdoms keep their lifestyles, their cultures. He adapted their religion. He did everything to keep them together. That he did to say, hey, he didn't bring any Valyrian culture to Westeros. Not at all. Only the Targaryens continued to speak High Valyrian, and few people around them learned it, but for the most part, the Targaryens did not bring any Valyrian culture. So that in and of itself tells us that George Martin intends to reveal that at some point, that Aegon did indeed have a dragon dream that convinced him that he needed to conquer Westeros and knead the Seven Kingdoms into one.
See, that's dope. What do you want to see? I would say the last thing I was going to say is, what do you want to see going forward? Because we got about 7 more episodes, and I think they're doing 8 this one. I think they did 10 the first one, 8 the second, and 8 the third. So where do you guys want this to go? And in terms of like the pacing and stuff.
I think the first thing I want to see, and I haven't mentioned this before, but it just popped into my head. I need Christian Cole to die. I need him to die.
Well, that's a low hanging fruit, though. So.
Oh no, it's not. No, it's not, because he's still alive. That's why it's not low hanging
fruit. He does feel really bad. I mean, can he get
no
a little redemption though?
No.
Yeah, no, he doesn't deserve any redemption.
No. But this whole
I want to eat my own hat. I want that dude to die.
Oh, stop it! You know you're not gonna touch that Nick. You're not gonna harm that Nick Pat.
I said I want to. I didn't say I was. It's expensive.
The one thing I do notice is that whether it be in Game of Thrones, Night of the Seven Kingdoms, or House of the Dragon, we always have a character we love to hate. So
true.
Oh well, that's
the longer they hang around, the juicier it is.
Yeah.
That's what George Martin does the best. He creates these characters that they themselves are human in that they don't believe that they are wrong about the things that they do. They make choices, and then we get to judge them, but that doesn't mean that they're judging themselves that way, or the people around them are judging them.
I feel like Christian Cole fits that mold the best.
But Cole looks like he's actually kind of doing the opposite. Like he realized that he's done wrong and that there's no there's no redemption
No
for him.
going back.
He's like borderline suicidal. Like the next time he goes into battle, he might like throw himself into something that'll get him killed. Like he's not right.
Hard to know. We don't get his point of view that often, and I think it's hard to know I think that is a part of it, but it's also what he saw. He saw
Sure.
the sheer terror of dragon power,
which was a great scene.
Yeah.
See the traumas of war in
That was
season
great.
2.
The PTSD.
He saw something that after this conflict ends, that nobody will see for another a couple hundred years, and to witness that, I think I don't know if it's that he is regretting the things he's done as much as he doesn't see himself living beyond this. And even if he does, what does he have to live for? He's a knight of the King's Guard. He's not supposed to be in any relationship with his queen. And already her brother knows. So he already believes that even if they win the war, somehow or the other, he's going to be executed. Aemon seems to be aware of it, and you can kind of divine that maybe he sent Cole out there to die in the first place, just because of his influence in that violation of the sanctity of that institution, of those orders. So it's it's getting to the point where every moment past this period is going to be one of devastation. It's not going to be a nice time. I think Jacaerys's death is kind of, if you could put a visual on how things might go. Like, I think Jacaerys's death is probably, with the dragon sinking to the water and him being a lone Targaryen, surrounded by enemies, and then picked off to be just like anybody else. He died just like any other soldier, in with arrows and sinking to the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, he died just like any other soldier, but he just has a name.
Right.
He just has a name, and he'll be remembered because he has a name. So, Jacaerys Velarion's physical body is gone, but the history books will write about Jacaerys Velaryon as long as there's a Targaryen still in power, and they happen to stay in power for another 140 odd years.
Right.
Yeah. I did notice that they tried to humanize Ulf the White a little bit more, but they did revert to showing that, he's got a little human story, but he's still a piece of crap.
Well, I mean,
piece of crap that just happens to have a dragon now.
Those three that I mentioned, the bastards of
Valyrian
and Targaryen blood, they're not in this fight for the kindness in their heart, and it'll be interesting to see if there's going to be some big implications as the season continues based on why they're there and their ultimate motives. Who knows right now?
Well, I would say Ulf's motives are clear, and he made that clear in that scene. He wants a castle. He wants to have he wants to be able to perch his dragon on a castle, and like, he wants that kind of power and influence, that he is not making it it is not in shadows what he wants. And then you got I think Sir Hugh the Hammer. He's mysterious because when Ulf asks him, how you get your dragon blood, he doesn't immediately go into the story. And I have a feeling that they're going to be revealing more about his mother and actually who her father was. It's quite surprising, but I won't say anything. But then you got, I think Adam doesn't fit your description, because Adam is showing that he's Lil and Lil's servant. He's like, the queen commanded us to wait, we should wait. It's like, I'm saying we're going to wait, but what you see though are three individuals who are totally untethered in terms of power, right?
Yeah,
and
they ain't got no name,
right?
And no power.
But mainly, neither one of them can tell the other what to do.
Right.
You notice that vibe. Adam says, "I say we stay." Oph says, "Who made you? You gave you the power."
Yep.
You know,
Right.
and like it's and you know it's so. And then Alice, of course, popping up. She's such the Melisandre of this story, but
Yeah.
she pops up and creeps them out, and then now they're like, okay, yeah, maybe we should go because the witch just said we're needed. So plus
Basically.
we don't
Yo.
want to stay. At first, I think first they weren't convinced when Ulf was like, yeah, this place is creepy. But then when she just like appeared out of nowhere,
Say less.
after they saw
Oh, that's what you meant.
the antler man, the antler elf,
Yo.
they're like, yeah, I'm sea smoke. Come on,
Yep.
let's go.
Anything to do with magic in Game of Thrones in Martin's world, just once it appears,
usually-
all right, time to go.
Oh, it's pretty
Word.
scary. I mean, his stuff is inspired by like Lovecraft and stuff like that. So like his deities and all of those, like these are like malevolent. Like in the story, in the canon, using magic is described as holding a sword without a hilt. And so basically the idea is, yeah, you might strike a mighty blow, but you're gonna do some damage to your hand, and you're probably not gonna have that hand anymore. So it's a sacrifice. Every time you make a sacrifice.
Bro,
Shout
once
out to
I-
Mike X37 for joining the chat.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you know, as soon as I see the spooky shit, I'm like, how much of the seed of the poppy did I just take? I'm
Word.
out.
Word.
Man, it's a word. I think Alice had the best line that describes it, where she tells Damon, like, yeah, man, there's a whole older ancient world that still exists up under and just watches you guys doing all of this stuff that means nothing and pretty much just eating your blood. Like just taking your blood. You're giving the blood to the trees and to the werewolves, and they love it, and they're watching. And the old guys still have power even when you think they don't. So it's very much taken from Lovecraft and its making. I wanted to. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
No, I was going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Whether or not you were satisfied with how the episode played out based on the depiction in the books.
You know, for this one, it's a little bit harder. I'm giving them more leeway because they're not working off of prose that is written from anyone's point of view or
Right.
a plot. This is literally written as a fictional text, right? So some of these are given multiple accounts of the details of the things that are happening on the ground. As far as this episode goes, I think they did a pretty good job of showing how hectic and chaotic the Battle of the Gullet was.
Mm-hmm.
The score just kept the mood where it needed to be the whole way through, especially from those scenes that was building to the Battle of the Gullet. And so, yeah, I do think that the pacing was better. I think that the way that it kind of built up and ended up getting faster and quicker as the story progressed was really good. And they did manage to bring in narrative development without compromising the action of the battle itself. So I do give them a lot of credit for what they've done. And, you know, again, some things had to be changed. I have to double check on some of the things that they did change. I don't recall Jason Lannister dying in that moment. But then again, I know he does die, so it could be that they just moved it up. So, and that makes sense. Again, if you're doing it for this medium versus the way it's written in Fire and Blood. So yeah, I was pretty satisfied with what I saw. I don't know how to feel about the Rhaena thing, so I'm just like kind of holding reserve for that. That was happening a little fast for me, but I think it felt fast because of it was supposed to be last season, and like now it's this season, so it just felt weird. But I do like that it wasn't just like she got on Sheep Stealer and she was able to go and be the conquering hero. Like she got there and she arguably made it
worse. Yeah.
At the very least, you could argue that she's the reason Vermax and Jaceres ultimately are that they're
Yeah.
distracted
Take it down.
for
That's how I felt.
for Vermax to get hit and then brought down, and obviously Jace, once the track he saw him in the water, that was it.
Better
Yes,
him than my girl Bayla. Bayla's my girl.
Yeah, no,
hey.
Bayla, Moon Dancer's too fast for those fools. Moon Dancer,
Mike X37 is asking, what was the antler elf?
that was the Green Man, Mike X37, a Green Man, and I'll repeat what I said. So, the Green Man in George Martin's world is basically like a type of elf. They are connected deeply with the werewood magic, the children of the forest, the old gods, the Starks, and a lot of the houses from the Reach and in the north, they all supposedly descend from a very famous Green Man named Garth the Green, who apparently built a werewood throne in the Reach. A lot of the Reach and Riverlands and northern houses have Green Man iconography, which shows the reverence that the first men had for them. But eventually they retreated into the area where they are now in the Riverlands, which is the Isle of Faces, as the children of the forest retreated to the deep woods of the north and the lands of always winter. But they held a lot of sway over the early first men houses, and it wasn't until the Andals invaded that they pretty much started to lose, and that influence waxed and waned. But they were pretty much like the High Kings, and so Bran's storyline in the Song of Ice and Fire is eventually going to intersect with the Green Man, but that hasn't just happened yet in the books. But that is likely what is getting ready to happen, since he is a Green Seer and being trained to be a Green Seer. So he's likely going to be the next Green Seer king, and that's what the show was referencing. But of course, they cut all the magic parts out. So Bran is likely not going to sit the Iron Throne. He's not going to rule the Seven Kingdoms from the Red Keep.
This is in the book, you obviously.
Yeah, in the book. King Bran will be more a Green Seer king who sits in the Werewood throne, and these other kings go to for wisdom and knowledge.
That makes sense.
And that's how it was before the Andals and before the Long Night. The first men who came over, they basically saw the power that these green men and the children had, and they started to interbreed with them. And what do we get after that? Skin changes. So that's how we get the Starks, who are able to warg their minds into direwolves, because they interbred with the children and the green men.
Nice.
Dude, Martin's crazy.
Yeah, that's insane.
His magic is very, very marginal, and it's very so. And so the implication that by the time we get to A Song of Ice and Fire is that all this magical knowledge has been lost, and what we see is a degraded form. The Ravens the Maesters of the Citadel once upon a time, just like the Starks and the First Men, could talk to ravens. They learned the raven speech. This is probably likely, and a lot of the fandom believe that it could be that they did speak a certain speech that they forgot, but also those early I'm triggering effects and stuff here. Also those early those early first men kings likely paid homage to them. Oh no, excuse me. The early maesters likely could warg into the ravens, and so they were speaking through the ravens because they were warging into the first maester is said to have been a guy who started the Citadel. He was hunchback, and he was like the half child of one of the Lord of the High Tower, and a woman, I believe it's Rowan of Raventree. I got to double check it, but she's heavily implied to have been a child of the forest. And then there you go, you get the first hybrid, who is a hunchback, and so he's dedicated to the knowledge and of both the world and the magic and maintaining that, and he could warg into the ravens. So all I have to say, that's his lineage of magic, and all of these things that we see are degraded forms. Even Daenerys' connection to the dragons is a degraded form of where it was.
That's dope. Super dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was episode 1. That shit was dope. I was thoroughly entertained, and it was a little bit longer than 60 minutes. It's about 70. So
70.
Yeah.
I actually,
like 73, so yeah, it was something like an hour.
yeah.
and
So
50 minutes.
it was one of those ones where you're watching it, and then like you look at your watch, like, oh damn, there's only like 10 minutes left. How are they gonna finish
For
this?
real.
Exactly. And
Wait,
they,
what are we getting? 8 episodes this season or 10? Or how does it
Yeah,
work?
8.
it would be better if we got 10, but I guess
Yeah.
this time around they're prepared for the 8, and I think that's the difference between this time and the last time. I think after the fact is when they were told they had to nix those last 2 episodes and move them to the 3rd season. So
Oh, because they were already in it already.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, because remember that was at the tail end of the strike, and like all that stuff was being figured out. So I think this season shouldn't have those kinds of problems that we saw. And also shout out to them referring to Aemon as Aemon One Eye. I appreciate that, because that's who he is now. He is Aemon One Eye. And I also like that they show that Aemon is definitely not. He's not steely confident, right?
Yeah, he's not convicted. Yeah.
Right. Like, and he showed that vulnerability to none other than his mother. Right. So that was a good moment where we see he wants badly to rival Daemon. Like, he wants so badly to be. He even refers to him routinely as my uncle. Like, he's proud that Daemon is his uncle, but
Right.
he also hates him all the same and wants to kill him all the same. And again, that's playing up that reoccurring theme of brother versus brother. Aemon, of course, being Rhaenyra's brother, is technically Daemon's brother-in-law, even though he's also they are also uncle and nephew. We know that this whole George Martin somehow makes us like these characters who practice all this incest and all that stuff. And so that bottom line is they are playing brother versus brother, which is again parallels throughout his mythology and is meant to give you clues as to what may have happened in some of his ancient worlds because of those parallels. So this is, I love that rivalry in the books, and I'm liking it even more now. And you even to the fact that Daemon is totally not thinking about Aemon
at all,
other than the fact that he rides Vhagar. Daemon does not care about
out of sight, out of mind.
He doesn't think of him as only thing he thinks of Aemon as the main threat of that they'll have to deal with eventually. But other than that,
but as far as immediacy is concerned, he's just like, right, so I need to kill that guy over there.
Yeah, Daemon is like thinking right now only about how to secure the throne for Rhaenyra. That's it. And if Aemon comes across him, if he cross paths with Aemon and has,
he got to go.
Then then he thinks about him. But I just like it because it says so much. It speaks so much to Daemon's character. This is how even he just doesn't care about much in the world, and other than the things that are like right in front of him. And even though he has the threat of, you would think he'd be looking to the skies for Vhagar, he's completely unafraid. He's completely unafraid of Aemon and Vhagar.
Dial it back to a basketball reference. Daemon is like, I'm in your head.
He is. He's in his nephew's head. Ever since that moment where they were having the dinner and Aemon and Jason, the kid, and they got into it, and Daemon is like, hang on, stepson / what are you else?
Slash nephew. Slash
cousin. Like, hang on, nephew. Hang on, stepson, nephew. Let me talk to brother nephew over here.
Bro,
brother nephew.
The amount of incest and craziness going on. It's like Happy Father, Uncle's Brother's Day. I don't know what the hell.
Man.
Oh, if he just went around that table and tried to connect all of
who's related to
who's
who and which
related to
way,
who?
and which
So-
how many different ways.
Yo, we need that meme from Always Sunny in Philadelphia where
Oh yes,
dude has to connect the dots.
yes.
That's basically the
Pepe,
family
Pepe
tree.
Sylvia meme.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
was
yeah.
the perfect meme. You got it, Cam. The perfect meme for describing the Targaryen house tree.
But what's from a behind the scenes perspective, look at what happens when people just kind of get their shit together. Because I feel like a lot of the infighting between Martin and Sapochnik, sort of, you could kind of feel it in some of the herky jerkiness of the last season. The first season was okay, but that
It's
second
him and
season,
Kondo.
definitely. Say again, Kondo. Sorry, Kondo.
Sapochnik
Right, yeah,
left,
Sapochnik is
and
the
you have to
director,
wonder why
yeah.
if he left because of those reasons. But
Probably did.
he left after the first season.
Yeah. But it seems like they ironed everything out just in time to sort of make to make at least this episode come out the way it came out. Like, it felt right. It felt in tone with what we saw in the first season,
And I
more
think
so than the second.
If this had been the finale of the last season,
We'd been okay.
Nobody would have said anything.
With what we
Yeah.
saw. The fact that everything in the last season after Rook's Rest was just exposition, exposition, and then ending on a similar way of season one, where all the armies are coming together, and or at least we know that everybody's about to converge in one spot. They're not in one spot, but yes, the war is about to happen. We did not see. They cheated us in one of the battles, the Burning Mill battle. We don't see that. We just see them argue and then dead bodies. And so now this is a good tone to start. But I think if that had happened the last season, it would have vindicated. And someone brought up, I think it was a Slash Film article I was reading, where they said that most likely House of the Dragon will be a great binge rewatch in terms of not having that time in between.
The 3-year gap.
But to go from each story beat uninterrupted, it'll probably be better. Obviously, it'll still have some flaws, but this was a good start. But I think,
I agree with that. I think on rewatch they'll probably rewatch better, because then that way you can kind of get to the flow of it. Where I think Game of Thrones in its heyday, at its peak, like every episode, every week was must see TV. Like, you'd have to sit and make sure you watch it, because at the end of that episode, you like, damn, okay, what's happening next? Where this one is like 5. Up to season 5, but like for this one you could miss a couple episodes and catch back up and be like, oh, okay, that was cool, and like group watch it, because that's why I watched it. I watched it in groups of 3s, and it felt better to watch it like that as opposed to waiting every week. Where now with this episode, this felt like, oh, okay, maybe I need to check in what happens next, because it like I said, the pacing was better, the tension was there. So now I really want to know what's going to happen next. Where last season I was like, I could do every 2-3 and just catch up to the end.
And to D'Angelo's point, the way this episode ended felt like it could have been a season finale instead of a season opener, with that last shot panning out away from the battle and looking at all the wreckage of all the ships, and basically just seeing what's left of the Sea Snake's fleet and basically the decimation of the pirate fleet. And that, I feel like that almost like they framed out exactly how the last season was supposed to end, and they just didn't change anything.
I was gonna say, quick response to that. Starting this season like that is not a bad thing.
No.
It isn't. But I think there is some things that, because this is the tail end of the stakes that had not been resolved.
Exactly.
And so and then also clearly we're still in the point where they hadn't cast Darien yet, because we see Tessarion saddle, but there's no Darien. Like, where is Prince Darien Targaryen? Oh, and by the way, who is Prince Darien Targaryen? If you might ask, that is Alicent and Viserys' final son that they have been mentioning from the first season, all the way since the first season, when Alicent asked No, maybe they first mentioned him. No, they did first mention him in the first season when Otto is saying to when he's leave. No, when he tells Allison that her son Daron is doing well in the Citadel,
Yep.
and that he's learning and he's become a, because he was reassuring her after Aegon and Aemon were turning out to be the way they were turning out to be. But anyway, the point is we've gotten him through nothing but exposition, and so it'll be and so even here, tail end of the show of the last season, where he wasn't cast yet, we're still seeing the residuals of that. It did work as an opening as far as like, but I think nothing narratively was established. Things felt like we were resolving things, like it was at
something that happened 2 years ago
of the tension. It was at the peak of the rising tension that you would normally resolve. But again, it was not off-putting, and I think later we'll go back where we watch it, and we'll be able to watch those episodes back to back, and I think it will feel less like just picking up in the middle of things.
Nuts. All right, well, we're gonna end it up there. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks for the comments. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. We're gonna try to do these a little bit, maybe like once a month, maybe even more, but we're working it out. But
shout out to the chat.
Yeah, tell us the chat, and thanks for rocking with us for our very first live stream. And so many more to come.
Thanks for staying that past your bedtime, kids.
Boy, who you telling, bro?
Loving them dragons and up to talk about the dragons.
For sure. All right. Well, thanks everybody. We out.
Peace.
Later.
Driving. Oh, what am I gonna use? What am I gonna? Ooh, I don't even know what to use. This one. There we go. We out.